That was weird. There we go. We're clear. Hello, Renner. What the hell is that? Okay then. Looks like somebody took a big old massive shit, came out, and it was a big fucking monster. No, what I was trying to explain, I'm not mad at you. Somehow, the fleet I got on, and Chris got on shortly after. He goes, why isn't the fleet in the Armada? And I go, I don't know. I looked. Crux is gone, which I assume Crux just left. Does that make sense? That didn't bother me. I know. And that's why I didn't think it was you at first. I says, did I accidentally do it? Crux, that makes sense. Okay, but what baffled me, and this is why I was a little bit baffled, and maybe I overreacted a little bit, but I'm like, okay, so I go on, because Chris didn't have gold didn't have the money for gold, right? So he gets on, and I'm getting ready to turn everything over to him. So I said, okay, don't worry, Chris. You know, you can use my stuff in the Armada, because I had this equipment, and I was going to let them use my duty off, you know, come over to use my duty officers and stuff. And I was, because I money pit a million, so I could help them get going as far as EC goes. But what bothered me, and I didn't know if you did it, and this is where I kind of got, well, what if this scenario is the fleet that I still had control over was out of the Armada too, and I did not touch it for 2 days. I haven't touched that. Yeah. I figured you didn't touch it. Stowe must have did something because, and that's what I thought. Well, maybe it's something with Stowe, but when I tried to invite it back in, right, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot you weren't taking invites. And I thought, well, could it be possible, because I know you were talking about cutting stuff, and that's where I thought, well, maybe he cut it. And I maybe overreacted a little bit, and I apologize. But I was like, did he cut it? Yeah. Well, you know me. I know I don't get mad unless there's something that's bothering me. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, there's only 2 people that could do this unless Stowe fucked up and kicked everybody out. Crux, I figured he left on his own accord. I know you do. That's true. And the thing of it, and I thought about it, I go, and then the more I thought about it last night, and I wasn't really mad, I'm like, something, and then I says, I got to thinking, right? I'm like, something's not right, because A, it's something on Stowe's, and B, I says, okay, if he didn't, what made me upset is, you know, I have a legitimate beef at first. I was like, okay, did he not do something and not tell me? Does that make sense? And then, but at the same time, I was like, no. I know, and I know, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, I sit there last night as I'm laying in bed, thinking about it, I'm like, no, Stowe did something, and I said, so let me explain it to him in the morning. I said, personally, I was not mad, I was more frustrated at Stowe, per se. Does that make sense? I'm like, I know, and that's exact. I know, and yeah, I. And I can't in this situation. I'm not pissed at you, believe it or not. I'm not. I'm pissed about is why would Stowe kick 2 of the Armadas out? I'm more pissed at them. I needed to be pissed at somebody. I'm sorry that I was pissed at you, because I'm like sitting there and I'm like, and even Chris said, he goes, "What's going on?" And he goes, "My fleet, this fleet's not part of the." And I says, "Hang on a minute." So what I was going to do was originally, before I pulled, what I was going to do was try to have him invite that while I was still in that fleet. Does that make sense? But the problem is we couldn't invite back to the Armada. I have no problem, you know, doing it the way it was at all. And you've been more than pleasant to me. This has not, I'm just more frustrated. I needed to be pissed at somebody, and I couldn't yell at Stowe directly. And I'm so. Yeah. I hate the voice text. That's what it sucks, and that's why it says just let me explain. That's why it says give me 24 hours just to vent, and I vented, and I says let me explain better, and that's why I said just let me explain tomorrow in a part, and you're like okay, and I says. Oh. She knows that I wouldn't really get mad at you, and she knows I absolutely adore the hell out of you. I wouldn't if I didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't mean to do that. I was just so freaking pissed. A little. I admit that I shouldn't have done that, and I'm man enough to admit I should have went that low. And he did. I can imagine. He's just been. He's legitimately pissed. I know. I'm not. I'm just I was so mad that. No, the reason why I got mad is. Stowe did something because I know. Yeah. And that's where Chris and I says, you know, go ahead. No, this isn't about a power thing with me. I was perfectly fine where I was at. What I'm thinking is, as far as getting people to do point A to point B with the nuts and bolts kind of thing, I've always been the one where everybody comes. Does that make sense? They're always. And I know, and you know, and she's younger than that, 14. Yeah. Part of the problem is a lot of that's come from YouTube and stuff, and that's just. It's hard. It's stuff that I can't get away from. Does that make sense? It follows me. Not in a bad way. I agree. I personally is it, wait, season 14.5? I have not seen anything about it. I just know we've got the Commodore Constable specialization. That's all I read. I did not know there was another episode. Is it leading into season 15? So I'm assuming they're a Gamma Quadrant species, correct? The Neptar? Oh, that's right. So basically, I wonder if she's gonna play a part in season 15 and all. Because I know Death Par, like, it comes out the 22nd, which I was originally just gonna flip because I know you're more of the nuts and bolts guy. I was just gonna, Chris and I came up with, what if we just switch the Armada around, let Renner be the nuts and bolts and let me handle the talking and just ask for input like we typically do. Does that make sense?
You look ready for battle.
Oh, you've got enough to offer as it is. Believe it or not, when I looked at it, your fleet was carrying the Armada. I'm being honest, like... You gotta, you just take some time and relax and think over, because it's like I says, you know, I told Chris, I says, Renner as a person, we're two different generations. But I says, truth be told, Chris, and I says, we can have our little spat here, but deep down I know he's the backbone and this was his baby to begin with. I says, maybe we just need to flip it, because I know how you're not a people person. I'm more of a people, you know what I mean? Exactly. What? And it's like with me, it's like I told Chris for a reason. And I didn't have a problem with your rules, and they didn't have a problem. And as Chris and I were talking, it's like I told him, I says, as far as Renner goes, I have nothing bad to say. I say, I just was trying to understand this situation. I think I just didn't, when we got down to 2, I panicked. I'm like, okay, this is me and Renner now. Where the heck is Hal? Because Chris was gonna stay in the Armada originally, right? But you know me. I know. I know you wouldn't. Wasn't me. It wasn't me, and I'll tell you why it wasn't, because if I did it, it might have been accident, but it wasn't on purpose. But I don't think I did it. It was, I got on, And I looked and I was like, the only reason I found out something was off, boss, was, you know how you have your Armada holdings? And your fleet holdings? Well, I looked, because I was getting ready to transfer everything over, you know, and keep that in there until the Jim Hadar came out. And help Chris, I was going to give him, you know, my reason. Because you have that 24-hour period. That's what I was trying to do, but I would have had to go in and set the, what do you call it, invites. Because you had, when you, after 7th act, I think, remember you cut that invite, that's what we tried to do. And I tried to message. But I tried, it said, you know what we tried to do? Because I had, remember when I said I had Chris as a leader? Well, I went in and had him get on the one on his character, because I was on Jared, right? To invite it back in, and it said this fleet isn't currently accepting invites. This Armada isn't current. And then after I did it, I was like, I figured it out, I'd already pulled. So I was like, we tried to bring that back in before this all. I told Chris, I says, you know, let's just bring it back in, because theoretically, to be honest, it should have been me, you, and Chris to begin with. In that Armada, even when Chris is on, at least I can get him to, you know, at least I was always communicating with him. I knew what was going on. And theoretically, let's just take some time and cool off. You get where you need to be, and you have a spot. I'm not really looking for, other than you, when you feel ready. Just take some time, cool off, and build your fleet. That's kind of what I'm doing. I just gotta figure, I gotta grind I got that 8-hour probation period before Chris can help me or anybody can help me still. But you know how that goes. But after that, I'm pretty much golden.